This podcast is for you if you want to learn about the wonderful and wacky world of the English language and the people who speak it. If you want to learn English, speak English, and understand different speakers of English, then you're in the right place and you're going to love our podcast episode today. Welcome to English World with Kris Amerikos. We are a team of language lovers, expert teachers, and native speakers who are on a mission to help people around the world speak English and show the world their true value. We correct mistakes, practice pronunciation, and explore grammar rules while drinking coffee and having fun. So get comfortable, relax, grab a pen and paper, and welcome to the show. Today's episode is brought to you by English Every Day, an unlimited speaking practice program where you can join live speaking practice lessons with professional native teachers 5 times every day. There are a lot of courses on the internet and a lot of useful videos too, but the one thing that is missing for most English learners is practice. And if you need speaking practice, then English Every Day is for you. So click the link in the description or go to krisamerikos.com to learn more today. So today we have Bahar with us from English with Bahar, and I'm so excited to talk to you and, to share your journey with everyone who's watching and listening, because I think that they can learn a lot from you and from your story. So thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you. Thank you. Actually, thank you for inviting me. It's such an honor to be here.
Great. So how did you get started? Tell us your story.
Well, it all started with a supportive family, if I'm going to say that, because they taught me how to have consistency, how to be disciplined. In order to achieve my dreams, I really have to be consistent, especially in learning English. So, I started learning English when I was 8. And I never gave up. I never quit. I guess I continue this progress for almost 10 years. And I got my IELTS exam. And after that, I met a brilliant woman that told me that you should teach English. You love teenagers, you love kids. I am a teacher at a school. You can teach English. I can tell them that you're so good at English. Let's come with me and let's do it. And
Wow.
then I started teaching English to 10-year-old boys. And at first everyone think that, wow, you had a chaotic class. But no, the moment that I started that English class, the moment that I got into that class, everything was fantastic. I was in love with teaching English, especially to kids and teenagers. And after that, we had COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I can't do this anymore, but I still really want to, tell everyone what I know, and in a funny or entertaining way. And I started my YouTube channel 2 years ago, and now I'm here with you.
In just 2 years, and your channel
Yes.
is really, really big right now. So
Thank
in
you.
just 2 years, it grew so much. It's amazing. You must have some kind of special secret.
Well, first of all, let me start with that. You have to really enjoy that. You have to enjoy the process and also being in love with what you're doing. Because let me tell you that I had only 32 subscribers for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
But I kept going. I never gave up. Everything, I kept writing that nothing is going well. But after 6 months, my YouTube channel just started growing and everything was fantastic. So the first thing that if someone really wants to start this journey is that you should really enjoy this. You should love this. If you want to think about the income or your salary, well, at first you should just be passionate. And after that, everything will be just what you really want. So, and also the second thing, the second secret, if I'm going to tell
Yeah.
you, is that you have to be special. It is so important, especially these days. You have to, um, I had a teacher that she told me you have to have a signature, especially
Mhm.
when you want to start teaching and creating content. Like everyone is creating content and teaching English, you have to have something very special that when someone watches your YouTube videos, they would be like, oh, that is Bahar. I know her because she had a curly hair. She has different characters, or she's funny because, I don't know, she makes different videos and something like that. So you have to think about something special if you want to grow, if you want to be seen by a wide audience.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it sounds like, a lot of teachers start studying how to market themselves, how to sell themselves. And it sounds like this is what you're touching on here is that
Mhm.
being unique, standing out, especially when there's such a large number of English teachers out there, that's super important. So what did you do to stand out? What do you think really was your signature or is your signature?
Well, I don't know if you have watched my shorts videos. Well, I decided to have different characters.
Mhm.
Like I had a girl who had who got some ponytail or different hairstyles. One of them is called Bella. One of them is Beth. We have a teacher, and I decided to make it fun. Like I looked at my daily life and I was like, oh, this is funny. Like sometimes some people tell me that, how do you write these scripts? And I would be like, I look at my daily life, like my mom, my friend, my father, and I would be like, this is a funny sentence. I can make it a video. And yeah, I think making characters and, as you said, something very unique,
Mhm.
that's the key.
Yeah, the character playing. I in some of my early videos I did that and I got really good responses. And you're saying how it's been working for you too. And I saw a couple of the shorts where you were doing that. And
Mhm.
I thought that that was really cool. And I've seen and a lot of other creators do that too, right? Um,
Yeah.
so it's like a really easy thing that a teacher can do, but it requires them putting themselves in the position of the student, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Because they need to play two roles here. They can't just be the person who's giving the rules, but also the person who is making the mistake.
Mhm. Exactly. Very true. Like when the audience, they see that you understand them, you
Right.
know what's happening. Like I am not just teaching you that you have to do this and that in order to pass that exam or be fluent. If they know that you understand them, they, they will be easy on you, or I would say they can connect with you easily.
Yeah, it's a good way to build rapport with the students.
Exactly.
That connection. It's so important too.
Hmm.
When I'm teaching English to people from different countries, I come across some cultural differences, some things that
Hmm.
it's just like a different way of thinking. And so
Hmm.
when you approach language, this is one reason I think we all love learning languages is because it opens your mind up to a different world, a different way of doing the same thing or something very similar. And
Yes.
so sometimes I find that students have this trouble with English. I mean, one example is that the indirect language that English
Hmm.
uses very often. Would you possibly be able to so many words to just say what you want, right? Um, and so like then it becomes difficult sometimes in situations to understand how direct, how indirect you should be. And then of course, this is different for different people, different
Yes.
families, but then society kind of has a standard that is
Mhm.
expected of you, right? Um,
Yes, exactly.
so sometimes I have students who come to my lessons and they'll always call me teacher or sir. And
Mhm.
so to me, in the United States, American English is very informal usually. Um, so I always tell them, just call me Kris. But then next time I speak to them, teacher, sir, the same thing again. And
Mhm.
so they feel more comfortable having talking to me like this, speaking with me like this, but I feel more comfortable the other way. And so there's this little cultural difference where if I were speaking their language, then it would make sense that I should change how I'm speaking with this person. But because they're speaking English, I feel you can be a little less formal with me. Hard to draw that line sometimes, though, in language, because
Mhm.
for example, a lot of students try to emulate, they try to copy native speakers. Oh, native
Mhm.
speakers. Oh, this mythological creature. It's like a unicorn. Uh,
Exactly.
so they try to copy this, and then what happens is they a lot of what they learn is good because it's just natural language production. But then it's hard to separate that person's personal view or personal idea of what something is or means from what they're teaching. I find this
Mhm.
with native speaker teachers a lot, where naturally you want to be more creative and use different words, and so you're pulling in a lot of other ideas, whereas a non-native teacher is more usually more focused on here's the material, here's what you need to know, and so
Yes.
it can be good and bad. What's your experience with that?
As you said, when you are teaching English as a foreign language, like I have my mother tongue is Farsi, and I'm teaching English as one of my foreign language. So yeah, you're right. We have some formats or some layouts that we should do this in order to be fluent in English. But when you dig deeper, you can see that no, you guys just take it so easier. Like you would say, yeah, we can use different vocabulary, different phrases. It's not that big a deal to use this phrase exactly in this position or in this structure. So, yeah, we should not, you know, be so hard on ourselves.
Definitely. Um, to me, it's a very strange paradox that as a student of a foreign language, you you try to learn the rules so that you can sound like the person who forgot all the rules. And
Exactly.
so this is the disconnect for so many students. It's like I'm going to learn all of these rules so that I can sound like that person. That person doesn't know the rules. So
Hmm.
why do you think learning all the rules will make you sound like that person?
Hmm.
And native speakers break the rules a lot. Usually there are rules about how to break the rules, um, but this becomes even more complicated. So yeah.
Well, I think one of the reason is that we are not surrounded by native speakers. Like we just see we just watch some videos, we just see different people that are talking in English, but we are not actually in that area, in that position that we do not see any native speaker. That makes it a little bit hard because we cannot guess what you are going to say in that situation. That makes it a little bit hard. And I guess that's the reason
Yeah.
that we
And
are not in your place.
I've noticed that this is a really big difference in the philosophy of how English is taught as a second language or as a foreign
Mhm.
language, because we can think of teaching English as a foreign language as teaching English to people who are not in English speaking countries, who are not in the environment, and then teaching English to people who are in the environment. And these are very
Yeah.
different things, I think. Um,
Yes.
so you'll see a lot of teachers who have been trained in the UK, in the US, who have worked in schools or academies in the UK, in the US. It's a completely different way of thinking about teaching people. Um,
Mhm.
and so when we come online, we have this mix of all of those people, some people there, some people here. Um, so it can be hard to find a balance sometimes.
Exactly. Yes.
What are some maybe common mistakes that Farsi speakers might make when they're speaking English?
So, well, most of the times they try to translate Farsi sentences exactly in English. Like, we have too many idioms and I don't know, some phrases that we do not have them in English at all. Some funny phrases, or I don't know, something that maybe you guys that are in the US, maybe you don't know what that means in Farsi or in English. So they try to translate them in English. And as an English teacher, when I listen to these kind of sentences, at first I start laughing, but after that, I would be like, why do you do that? Like, who was your teacher who told you that you can translate these sentences? And yeah, after that, I tell them that it is not correct to, translate everything from Farsi to English. So they try to learn English so fast. Like, I want to be fluent in English in 6 months. And I tell them, you are a basic level student, and I can't do anything for you to be an advanced student in only 6 months. It's so hard. And they are not patient. I guess this is another mistake that I learned English, I guess, in 11 or 12 years. And it takes time. It is something that you should really pay attention to.
I agree with you. That's really powerful. Yeah, a lot of students have
Mhm.
unrealistic expectations about what is going to happen when they study. It's like some people think, oh, if I just talk to the teacher, then magically I'll start speaking or something like that. Or like I'll listen to a YouTube video or I'll press some buttons on an app and then magically I'll start speaking. Um,
Yes, like I don't know, like if Bahar has 600,000 subscribers, so she can teach me how to be fluent in English in 6 months. And
yeah, why not?
I would be like,
Yeah. It's great that people look to you for this answer though, because you have the opportunity to change their expectations, to
Mhm.
set more realistic expectations. And then when you do that, they'll be more open to the path that you present them to go forward, which is great. So I think all those people
Yeah.
with unrealistic expectations present a really great opportunity for you. Um,
Mhm. Yes.
what you were talking about like translating idiomatic phrases
Mhm.
from the first language into English. I think everybody does this too, and English speakers when they're trying to learn other languages, they do the same. It's like you have this,
Mhm.
you think these words together have a special meaning, and especially I see this happening more with students who are studying a foreign language the first time, the first foreign language. Like you also studied German, right?
Yes, yes.
So you already had one foreign language, and then when you start studying the second foreign language, then you already figured out how to, you already figured out something special about your first language because now
Mhm.
you understand that your first language doesn't work the way that you thought before. Uh,
Exactly.
so So now you have this new knowledge about how to learn a foreign language, and you can apply that
Mhm.
to more languages. But the first one is the hardest.
Well, yes, exactly. The reason why, one of the reason was that I wanted to know how to, the reason why I started learning German
Hmm.
was that I wanted to try different techniques, methods, so I can find out how to learn a foreign language, so I can teach these methods to my students because as I said, I studied English when I was 8, and back then I can't remember what was the exact um, technique or method that I had. I just had consistency. As far as I know, I was a disciplined and a little bit nerd girl who was just studying English, and that's it. But for German, I wanted to know what's going on if you really want to learn a new language. So I'm trying different techniques, methods. So I'm going to find out how you can be fluent. And to be honest, German is such an easy language for me. It just has, you know, feminine, masculine, and neutral articles. That's the hard part.
Yeah,
But the sentence structures are so similar to English, and it's good. I am enjoying this journey.
that's great. Yeah. And after English, German is
Mhm.
probably even easier because
Yes,
they're so
yes.
closely related. That's really cool. I was just, while you were talking about that, I was just thinking about how, you know, all of the successful English teachers that I've met have found a way to do something more than just teaching English. Like
Mhm.
by learning how the language works, you're studying linguistics. You're not studying English teaching, you're studying linguistics. And
Yes.
you're studying other topics and other subject areas. And a lot of English teachers just never get out of the English teaching bubble.
Mhm.
Um,
They
you
stay in that comfort zone.
Yeah, exactly. And then once you start studying linguistics, then, oh, well, this might change how I need to teach
Mhm.
English or how I should approach language learning and teaching.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right.
And then you also went beyond being an English teacher by being a content creator. You had to learn how to
Mhm.
film videos, edit videos, how to make images, how to graphic design. So you learn video editing, graphic design, video production.
Mhm.
So now you're adding all these skills to your list of skills, and this separates you from a lot of other English teachers already, right?
Yes, I can take it as a compliment actually, because yes, I did everything all by myself. Like I started my YouTube channel with just one phone, and that's it. And after that, I bought a camera. After 2 years, I bought a camera finally. But I just recorded everything with my phone, and after that, I bought two soft boxes. It totally depends on how passionate you are.
Definitely. I think we can all feel the
Mhm.
passion from you in this video.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you.
So, what do you think about the YouTube English teaching community as a whole? Like, is this a positive thing, negative thing? I'm sure you've seen other teachers out there too.
Well, I am an outgoing person. Like I really enjoy talking to other people and learning from their experience. But, I think these days English teachers who create content, they can communicate more. Like I really like to have different characters in my videos with different English teachers. Like we can create a group, we can have different characters, different conversations, and that would be much, much better. And also the audience would enjoy it. So yeah, we have very brilliant. I mean, too many brilliant teachers who are creating content just like me. They have different characters in their videos, but I think it would be better if we have a kind of group, or we can use each other's different experience. I think that will be perfect. But overall, everything is great. Like, I am watching different videos and I would be like, wow, this girl or this boy is rocking it. They are doing great.
That's great. So your experience has been positive overall, right?
Mhm.
Cool. Um, have you ever studied with an English teacher before?
Studied with an English, you mean I have learned English with, you mean a native speaker English teacher or no?
Any English teacher?
Yes, of course. I had too many teachers who, whenever I think about them, I would definitely have a big smile on my face because they were great, that they made me to be this person right now. As I told you, there was a teacher that she told me that you can be a great English teacher, and I guess she just started this journey for me. And yeah, I had too many, these kind of teachers that, they had a great impact on this learning and teaching journey.
Uh-huh. And any of the teachers that you had, have any of them ever made a mistake?
Well, back 10 years ago, like when I'm talking about like when I was 12 or 13 years old, I had some teachers that they haven't been in any English countries before. So they
Mhm.
have just learned English in English at English classes, and that's it. So yeah, they made some mistakes in English, and most of them were open. Like, we told them that, hey, you made a mistake. And she was like, oh, sorry, sorry, yes, you're right. And then she corrected that mistake, and that was it. But it is so important that you show that you are trying to be better. Like, you are trying to improve yourself. You're still learning something from your students or from English culture. And as when I was a student, I saw that they were trying to be better in English. So I was like, yes, it's okay. I learned something new and they learned it too. It is not our fault that we are not a native speaker. So, yes, it's okay. But it is so important that when you understand that you made a mistake, try to correct it. And you should not tell them that mistake. You should not teach that mistake. Or if you make a mistake, you can tell them, sorry, let's correct it together. You should tell your students.
Yeah, definitely. Be honest with your students.
Mhm, exactly.
So, okay, so you've had teachers who have made mistakes. What about you? When you're speaking Farsi, your native language, your first language, do you ever make mistakes when you're speaking Farsi?
No, that not that much, because Farsi is not a very confusing or challenging language. And but if one of our friends, or if I make a mistake, I try to, tell them that, hey, it's okay. Hey, that was a mistake and let's move on. Nothing just happened. And yeah, let's be easy. We don't want to we don't want to make it hard.
Right, right. Don't you think that people who speak every language would say that for them, their language isn't hard and
I don't know, but you know, I think like some languages are much harder than we think. But when you are raised, when you're growing in that country, in that environment, learning that language, that wouldn't be difficult for you like at all. But yeah, maybe some languages like Chinese, I guess that will be a difficult language. But yeah, but I don't think if you are raised and if you're born in a country with a difficult language, you are not going to find out that that was a challenging language for anyone, that's for the learners, for the other learners.
Hmm. Yeah, I think, people who learn a language in a certain language family or group, then those languages are easier. Like we were talking about before, like German for you will be easier because you already know English.
Mm,
Because both of them are Germanic languages. They're both in the same language family. And so those connections between the two languages you'll see them in a lot of places. Even if
exactly,
German has three different genders and English has almost zero. Um,
exactly, yes.
but yeah, so like for an English speaker, we have this. My father was in the military, in the US military, and so they have this military scale of of language difficulty. And it's based on being an English speaker first. So,
Mhm,
according to being an English speaker, then some languages are more difficult, less difficult. Um, Japanese, for example, like one of the most difficult, takes the longest to learn.
mhm.
Whereas things like German that are closer are easier, shorter time to learn, generally. But someone who's a native Farsi speaker, it's probably going to be a lot easier for them to learn. Like Arabic and Farsi have a lot of connections.
Yes,
It would be a
yes,
lot easier
exactly.
to learn this before learning English, which is a completely
Mhm.
different thing. Um,
Yes. Well, but Arabic is more different because it has um three genders, like as in German.
yeah.
So we used to learn Arabic back in school.
Mhm.
So it was so hard. It was so hard for me. Like learning English was much easier for me than Arabic, if I'm gonna
Interesting.
be
Interesting. Um, Another thing that I was thinking about when you were sharing, about your experience talking with other Farsi speakers, if someone makes a mistake, then we kind of, okay, it was a mistake, let's move on. Like it doesn't
honest.
matter, right? Um, I can say the same with English speakers. Like if I'm speaking with English speakers who are natives, who are from here, I'm an English teacher. This is the difference though. Like, are you a Farsi teacher?
No, no, I do not teach Farsi.
So maybe if you were a Farsi teacher, when you spoke with people speaking Farsi, you would hear a lot more mistakes. When I
Yes.
hear native English speakers speaking, I hear mistakes constantly. It's because what is a mistake? A mistake is just comparing the language that was produced to the rule.
Hmm.
And who makes the rule? And the rule was made a long time ago, and the language is changing. So there's always going to be
Hmm.
something that's different about how people use the language compared to what the rules are. And so they might break the rules, but they break it in the same way a lot of times. So
Yeah.
for them, if you told the native speaker that they made the mistake, they would say, "No, I didn't. I'm like this is how I speak." And if I'm a native, and this is the logic that they use, if I'm a native speaker and I said it, then it cannot be a mistake.
Oh,
People start to think like that. Like if I just walk out on the street right now, they're not expecting that someone's learning English, someone's teaching. They're not thinking about any of this, right? And if I speak to someone and then I say, "Oh, well, you wanted to say this because the way that you said it was a mistake," they're just going to be like, go away. They're not even going to think that it's possible that it's a mistake, you know? Uh,
well, yeah. If I were in that place, like if I keep having this kind of conversation, I would definitely be crazy. Like I would be like, guys, you make a mistake, please correct them. And if they tell me these kind of stuff, I don't know how I'm gonna react.
Yeah, I think it happens very, very regularly
So,
because the problem here is not really about how they speak or what the rule is. It's this concept of mistake. Like, what is really a mistake? And
mhm,
uh, people get confused about what that really means because it wouldn't be right for me to go to the person on the street who isn't expecting any
mhm.
out of context and to say that's a mistake. It's it's not right because they didn't ask.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow. This is
right?
getting so hard for you.
And then like if you say that it's a mistake, then what is the rule that you're comparing it to? And does that rule apply right now? Because well, if we back up to YouTube, you might make a video, I might make a video, someone else might make a video about the same topic, or maybe using similar phrases, but we might say things in a
Mhm.
different way, choose some different words. And if someone looks at them and says, that's a mistake, then what are they comparing it to? Are they comparing it to British English rules? Which British English
Mhm.
rules? RP, received pronunciation, the standard that people usually talk about with British English. In American
Mhm.
English, what's the standard? What standard are they referring to? Because there's not really a big standard.
Yeah,
Um,
completely agree.
so So I think it's important for people to be able to overcome that idea of mistake and making a mistake because at the end of the day, nobody really cares about that. And just thinking that you're going to make a mistake is the only thing that's stopping you from actually communicating
Yeah.
effectively, which is the real reason to do it.
Yes, you have to be just brave and just talk. And after that, you're gonna see that you are so fluent if you just focus on speaking and talking to others.
Yeah, speaking practice, I think, is the fastest way.
Yes, wow. I just got impressed by what you said.
Thanks. Well, what do you think motivates students to keep learning English? Because, this concept of mistake, it can hold people back, but some people
Mhm.
find a way to push through this and they're motivated to keep going like you.
Mhm. Well, let me start with what I did. Well, when I was 13 years old, I listened to One Direction songs. I don't know if you know them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I started writing their lyrics, memorizing their songs. I was just only a 13-year-old girl, and that's it. And my parents was like, "Wow, you are memorizing these songs just by writing their lyrics." And I was like, I really love this boy band. That's the reason why. So I guess you should have a goal. Like my goal just back then was just memorizing the songs and understanding the interviews, understanding what they are talking about. And as I grew up, I had different goals and dreams that I really wanted to achieve. So if you want to start learning a new language, first you shouldn't say I want to learn a language because I want to be a good English student. No, you have to have a goal. Like I want to go to that foreign country to communicate. Communicate. I want to be an English teacher. A very specific goal for yourself, and then every time you are tired, you say, "Oh, I want to give up," you will think about your goal and you will just keep going on, keep studying, keep working on that language. So, if you have one specific goal, just everything will just be perfect and you're going to have a perfect journey. But if you're just forced by your parents or by your school, that wouldn't be very effective, and that's not going to work for you to learn that language. You should really deeply want to learn that language.
Absolutely. That was so great. People need to hear that.
Yes. Yes.
How can the people who are watching and listening find you?
Well, these days I'm just working on my YouTube and my Instagram account, and I always try to read all of my comments and answer them. If they have any questions, they can email me. I will definitely answer them.
Awesome. We'll put all the links under the video or under the podcast, and feel free to
Thank you.
reach out. And yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to have this call today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. It was a great experience, and that was perfect.
Thanks. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to English World with Kris Amerikos. Now it's your turn. Don't just listen to English, speak English with us every day. Join our English Everyday speaking program today. See you in the next episode. Bye-bye.